Hello there. So Tony Blair has described President Biden's decision to leave Afghanistan as imbecilic. As per usual, please like, subscribe and comment below. And when subscribing, please do press that little bell, but also select the all option, or you won't get any notifications of any new videos. So the UK left is starting to eat the US left, but it won't get them very far because it's obvious the US isn't listening to the UK at all, whether it be left, right or centre. And now we have our former Prime Minister Tony Blair, whose efforts got us embroiled in Afghanistan in the first place, writing an article that seems to try and vindicate his agreement to the UK going into the country, and also vilifying the Biden decision to so quickly and chaotically pull the plug. In his article published on the Tony Blair Institute website, he said of the Joe Biden mess of a withdrawal, "The world is now uncertain of where the West stands because it is so obvious that the decision to withdraw from Afghanistan in this way was driven not by grand strategy but by politics. We didn't need to do it, we chose to do it. We did it in obedience to an imbecilic political slogan about ending the forever wars, as if our engagement in 2021 was remotely comparable to our commitment 20 or even 10 years ago, and in circumstances in which troop numbers had declined to a minimum and no Allied soldier had lost their life in combat for 18 months. He also called the withdrawal tragic, dangerous and unnecessary. And he also told broadcasters that the new Taliban regime in Afghanistan will give protection and succour to Al-Qaeda. You've got ISIS trying to operate in the country at the same time. And adding that, you look around the world and the only people really cheering this decision are the people hostile to Western interests. Oh, and remember that the Tony Blair Institute crowed about having its teams embedded in governments around the world. Maybe they need to be thrown out. So he's obviously not happy with his fellow lefty US President Joe Biden. But here's what the Tony Blair Institute tweeted out on the 7th of November 2020. Congratulations to President-elect Joe Biden and VP-elect Kamala Harris. A powerful victory, important mandate, a great team to rise to the challenge. Unifying their nation and our world is needed more than ever in support of the values which bind us. Tony Blair. The values that toss the UK in the ditch when it suits, more like. Boris Johnson tweeted out at the same time. The US is our most important ally and I look forward to working closely together on our shared priorities from climate change to trade and security. Oh yeah. And Keir Starmer, the Labour Party leader, waxed lyrical, saying such things as, he ran a campaign on the values that we in the United Kingdom share, decency, integrity, compassion and strength. As well as, their victory is one for hope and unity over dishonesty and division. Millions of Americans of all backgrounds and ages have come together to vote for a better, more optimistic future. And then there's this. This is also an important moment for the world. It is a chance to reassert America's place as a force for good on the world stage. And how about this from Starmer? Joe Biden and the Democrats have always shared Labour's values and the links between our two parties remain strong. I am looking forward to building on this and forging an even stronger relationship between the UK and the USA. While the SNP leader in Westminster, Ian Blackford, said the Biden election result gives great hope to progressives here in Scotland and around the world. Right, so now we know what progressives really believe in. And how about the London Mayor Sadiq Khan, who tweeted, London looks forward to working with you. It's time to get back to building bridges, not walls. And all that was just from the UK. The EU and many others around the globe were just as effusive. and anyone who even breathed a word of dissent about this new religion of Biden is wonderful were ignored by the fawning mainstream media and struck off of social media platforms. In fact, Donald Trump himself is banned from the likes of Twitter, but the official Twitter account of the spokesman of the newly declared Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan, Zabihullah Mujahid, has an active account, while the Taliban wander around torturing and killing. I've just checked it this afternoon. Well, Joe Biden was either not listening or in no position to listen to or to understand what his powerful acolytes from around the world were saying about how wonderful he is. And now, here, a mere 9 months later, we have one of the woke and left's biggest cheerleaders, Tony Blair, calling Joe Biden's actions imbecilic. Never in these information-rich times have so many people got so much wrong about one person and caused the death and misery of so many as a consequence. And you can hear the belly laughs rumbling in all the way from Moscow and Beijing. Now, do you want to hear what else Tony Blair's been saying? Then listen on. But first, I just want to say a massive thank you to all my Patreon, PayPal and Super Thanks supporters, as well as those that do buy a mug with my mug on it, link in the descriptions box below. You really do help me keep this channel going. Now, on top of giving Joe Biden a verbal hiding, Tony Blair said that his intervention in Afghanistan was a good cause that still matters today, and that the sacrifices and death of our troops were not in vain. But he also went on in his article to point to the threat that radical Islam poses to the West, and said that we need to decide if it is a strategic threat, and, if so, how do those opposed to it, including within Islam, combine to defeat it? We have learnt the perils of intervention in the way we intervened in Afghanistan, Iraq and indeed Libya. But non-intervention is also policy with consequence. But he also went on to say that intervention can take many forms. We need to do it learning the proper lessons of the past 20 years, according not to our short-term politics, but our long-term strategic interests. But intervention requires commitment, not time limited by political timetables, but by obedience to goals. And going through the rest of the article, he seems to be saying that the West needs to intervene to shape global events, and that the UK has a choice: join at the hip with those allies and make long-term interventionist commitments, or risk relegation to the second division of global powers, i.e., either be blown by global events or be the blower. So what's he saying? Is he asking us to go through a whole new Afghanistan operation? But not just in Afghanistan, with us on one side and radical Islam on the other? The trouble is that sort of thing, whether it be the lightest of light touches or heavy-handed, needs a couple of things visibly behind it to make it viable. The first being a capable and strong military, not an overstretched home defence force that relies totally on the skill of its troops to overcome serious material deficiencies. You also need allies with strong and capable militaries as well. And most importantly, you need the will of all of them to flex those military capabilities for maybe decades through ever-changing domestic and international political changes. Which is, of course, just about impossible. As we've just witnessed, all it takes is the main player, or even maybe just one of the main players, to turn around and say that its electorate has got a bit twitchy over this and how much it's costing, while others don't shoulder their fair share. So they're off, and it's another failed intervention. In a democracy, you can't tie the hands of your successors. They'll always find a way out. And you can imagine the general election pledges of, "We'll pull us out of this disastrous intervention and with the resulting peace dividend give everyone a tax cut and save the NHS," etc. Maybe what we need is the strength and commitment for short-term in and out operations to make our point while neutralising threats. but not trying to colonise or build a new democratic nation where there is no appetite for it. And of course, intervention requires both overt and covert help on the ground. A very risky business indeed for those involved, as the Taliban is showing us every single day. Anyway, after a few days' silence since the Taliban retook Afghanistan, Tony Blair has eventually surfaced. But some things always do float to the top, don't they? If you get my drift. So what's your opinion on Tony Blair pontificating on Afghanistan? Please like and comment below.